Hi everyone, and welcome to the final day of my beginners Pilates sessions. I hope you've really enjoyed this week and feel like you've learned a lot about how to really work those core muscles and how you can work other muscles in as well as your core. So if you are interested in continuing your Pilates adventure with me, you can check out my free 7-day trial of my on-demand classes, which you can start whenever you like, and you can find more details on that on my website at beyondthestudiopilates.co.uk. And we're going to start our final day with 2 new exercises. So you're going to need a pillow or a block just to place under your head, and then we're going to come and lie on our left hand side. So you're going to come onto your left, keeping your knees glued together. Now, the further away from your body you move your knees, the more difficult you're going to make these exercises. So if you want to just keep them quite close into you, to kind of pick where you want them. Ankles and knees are glued together. Top arm is coming so that it's in line with the bottom arm, so parallel with the bottom arm, and just check in with that bottom shoulder, make sure that's comfortable and you don't feel like you're being kind of pulled forward. Next, thinking about that core. So you're pulling your belly button towards your spine and holding it there, pulling your ribs towards your hips, holding it there. Should be a little gap under your lower side. Try and maintain that throughout the 2 exercises. Core engaged, chin is lifted, make sure you're not looking down towards your feet. From here, we're going to take an inhale. Then we're going to exhale. We're going to slide that arm forward, bring it up in line with your shoulder. Then, thinking about rotation through that mid-spine, you're just going to bring that arm back behind you as far as you can without that hip rolling. So don't let your hips roll too. The rotation comes through that mid-spine. We're going to hold it here for an inhale. Then exhale. Fight gravity and bring that arm back down, watching where your fingers are going as they come back to the start. Holding here for an inhale. And exhale, really stretching that arm forward, bring it up in line with your shoulder, rotate through that mid-spine, hold at the back for an inhale, thinking wide thoracic breathing, exhale, slowly bringing that arm back down. Okay, from here we're going to do 3 more like this, so really stretching that arm forward. As you stretch that arm forward, make sure your hips stay stacked. So think glue those knees together. That's going to help you with that hip control. Holding at the back for an inhale. And exhale. Fight gravity, bring that arm back down. So this is a really nice exercise for your posture. So it's going to really help to open up through those chest muscles. And we're just mobilizing through that spine, which is really nice. You've been sitting down all day, just getting a little bit of movement through that back and core. Just help. Watching your hand as it comes back to the centre, and final one like this. So really stretching that arm forward. Think about moving through your shoulder, keep everything else nice and still. Arm comes up, rotate through that mid-spine, look to your fingers, inhale. Exhale. Belly button to spine, core engaged, bring that arm back down. Okay, from here you can bring your arms to have them wherever they're comfortable, and we're going to move on to clown. Now this is really good for building hip stability, glute strength. So core engaged, again make sure that your ankles are glued together, but this time you're going to open up from your knee. But I want you to imagine on top of your thigh there is something really heavy, and you're going to push that heavy object off the top of your thigh, keeping your ankles glued together, holding at the top for an inhale, and then exhale. Slowly bring your knees back together, core engaged, holding it here, then exhale, pushing that heavy object off the top of your thigh. Now when you get to the top, make sure you haven't rolled your hip backwards, so keep your hips stacked on top of each other, hold, and then slowly lowering back down. So we're using the breath to control the speed of the movement. So inhale, exhale, push that heavy book off the top of your leg, think belly button to spine, holding, And then exhale. Slowly, with control, bring that leg back down. Core engaged, hold at the bottom, inhale. Exhale. Push that heavy book off the top of your leg, holding it here. Inhale. And exhale. Push back to the floor. So I want you to keep imagining there's something really heavy on top of your leg and you're resisting it as it comes back open, and then as you come back to close, you're resisting that leg just wanting to fall back to the floor. So you're holding that leg up, making the muscles work against each other. 3 more like this, pushing that heavy book off the top of your leg, core engaging, belly button to spine. And final 2, push that heavy book off the top of your leg, holding it here. And exhale. Slowly back down. Final 1. Keep those hips stacked one on top of the other, pushing that heavy book off the top of your leg, holding it here. And then slowly, with control, bringing that leg back to the floor. Okay. From here, just removing that block from under your head, so your head is going to be lower again, and we're going to just do a simple toe tap. So really focusing on those core muscles this time. So feet are hip distance apart, toes are facing forward, core engaged. Little gap, remember, remains under that low back. Pull your ribs down towards your hips. From here, you're going to bring one leg into tabletop. Knee is coming to over your hip, shin is parallel with the ceiling. And from here, we're going to post our foot. So you're going to post your foot through the letterbox. You're going to come back to tabletop. Then you're going to post it through the cat flap. Come back to tabletop. And then you're going to tap the floor. Come back to tabletop. And then come back to the floor. Then the other side, so core engaged, lift to tabletop. Knee comes to over hip, shin is parallel with the ceiling. Post through the letterbox. Back to tabletop. Post through the cat flap. Back to tabletop. Tap the floor, back to tabletop, and lower. So belly button to spine, core engaged. Don't let that back arch or your belly dome. And you're just taking your leg a little bit lower for the cat flaps than the letterbox. So we're just working through some range of movement with that leg. Keep thinking belly button to spine, core engaged. Moving from your hip as you move that leg back to the floor for the tap and to keep it at the floor. We're going to do 1 more on each side. Keep thinking belly button to spine, core engaged, slow and controlled movement. Holding on to those core muscles. Final 1 on each side. You're stretching out through that leg. Moving from your hip when you tap. Back up and lower. Final time, core engaged. Just reaching out with that leg. And bringing that foot back to the floor and giving yourself a full body stretch. And then coming onto your other side of book and clam. So again, you're going to need a little cushion under your head just so that you can keep your neck in alignment. Coming onto your right side, so thinking about that setup first. So head is stacked so that your neck is in alignment, core engaged, feet are glued together, knees are glued together, core on, so pull your ribs down towards your hips, belly button to your spine, little gap remains under that low side. Top hand comes to parallel with the bottom hand, taking an inhale, then exhale. Stretch that arm forward, bring it up in line with your shoulder, and then you're rotating through that mid-spine. Hold at the back for an inhale. And then exhale. Slowly, with control, bringing that arm back down, fighting gravity on the way. Think belly button to spine, core engaged, stretching that arm forward. So keep your hips stacked one on top of the other, as you stretch that arm forward and back. So make sure your hip now hasn't rolled back. If you think about your knees being glued together, it'd be easier to control where your hips are going. Hold at the front for an inhale. Exhale, stretching that arm forward, bring it up in line with your shoulder, rotate through that mid-spine, hold at the back for an inhale. Exhale, slowly, with control, fighting gravity as you bring that arm back down. I'm going to do 3 more, core engaged. Stretching forward and then reaching up into the air and rotating back, hold at the back. And then exhale. Slowly with control, bringing that arm back down. Final 2 here, really stretching that arm forward, think belly button to spine, up into the air, look to your fingers, and then rolling back, making sure that mid-spine is where the rotation is coming from, holding it. Then exhale, slowly with control, bringing that arm back down, fighting gravity on the way. Final 1 here, core engaged. Reaching forward, bring that arm up into the air, then rotate through your mid-spine, look to your fingers, inhale. And then exhale, slowly, with control, bringing that arm back down to the ground. Moving your arms so that they're in a comfortable position, thinking about your clam now, so heavy book on top of that thigh, and we're going to push that heavy book off, keeping your ankles glued together, holding at the top for a count of 1 to 2 or an inhale, and then exhale, slowly lowering that leg back down. Remember, resisting the urge just to kind of drop it to the floor. Core engaged, keep those hips stacked one on top of the other, so make sure you're not rolling too far back. All the movement is coming through your leg, everything else stays nice and still. Belly button to spine, rib to hip connection, little gap remains under that side. Keep thinking belly button to spine, keep those core muscles switched on. Pelvic floor on too, so think floor 2 or 3 of that lift. Holding at the top for an inhale. Exhale, slowly back to the ground, resisting that leg as you take it back down. So really take it slow and controlled, building strength in those glutes, holding at the top, really resisting the urge to just drop that leg and bring it back. Final 3 here, push to the ceiling and hold, and slowly lower back down. Final 2 here, push to the ceiling and hold, and slowly lower. Final 1 here, push to the ceiling and hold, and then slowly lowering back down and coming back to sitting. And we're going to do a little stretch. So you're going to bring both legs out in front of you. You're going to bring your left leg up and over. You're going to bring your right arm round and then look towards the left. So we're stretching out through that piriformis. So you should feel stretch kind of in the side of your glutes, holding it there. And bringing that leg back down, bringing that right leg up and over, left arm wrapped around, looking towards the right, sitting up nice and tall and get a deeper stretch, holding it there. So we're holding this for 30 seconds today, but you could hold it for a bit longer if you want to, somewhere between 30 seconds and 90 seconds. Then bringing that leg back down and coming back to sitting however is comfortable. Thank you for joining me for my final day of beginners Pilates. I hope you found it really beneficial and feel that you've learned some new stuff and some new exercises that you can do to really strengthen those core muscles and other muscles as well. If you are interested in continuing Pilates with me, either live, online, or in real life, please do get in touch at beyondthestudiopilates.co.uk or just send me a message on Instagram and Facebook. See you later.